Hello, welcome to Working with Miniatures. I'm Jim, and tonight we're going to be painting a female Wraith from the Reaper Miniatures Bones line. We'll primarily be using Army Painter products and Golden Highflow products. Let's get started. With an airbrush, I apply golden paint starting with a base of fluorescent blue. Mixing in teal, I start adding highlights, trying to aim only for the flesh, the lantern, and the blade of the scythe. I'm going for an ethereal, ghostly look, and I have no idea how to do that, so with nothing more than a whim guiding me, I decide the aforementioned areas would have the brightest glow. After dumping the paint, I mix teal with titanium white ink in a small bowl and stir it thoroughly with a cheap brush. I never mixed ink with paint like this, and it doesn't mix easily, taking several long minutes before I add a solid color. I repeat the previous step, but with more ink, and this I try to apply to a smaller area than before, much like painting layers with a brush. I then spray a very light zenithal dusting of pure white ink. Heading inside to the desk, I hit the flesh, lantern, and blade with one speed paint, and the clothing with a darker color from the same family. I really wanted to use plasmatic bolt, but I refrained since it's one of the original speed paints by Army Painter. It's still one of my favorite colors though. With Hydra Turquoise, I add shading around the borders of the flesh, around and in between the abdominal muscles, and below the breast. As a side note, Army Painter's Royal Cloak is a good match for the Caribbean Ocean speed paint, at least with the base colors I had put down before this. The first highlight I add to everything except the clothing, working slow and making sure I don't get too much paint on the brush, in an effort to keep my lines as thin as I can. I repeat the same as the previous step, save with white paint, and cover a smaller area. Again, keeping mindful of how much paint is on the brush, testing on my fingernails before painting the actual miniature. I also constantly clean the brush to reshape the tip. I then move on to the clothing, following the same pattern, a shade color and a pair of highlights. Thinning down the same two speed paints I used earlier, I reapply them to the same areas. I've been using this as a crutch to help tone down bad highlight transitions, and I need to stop doing this and force myself to get better at glazing. I then use the same two speed paints again, unthinned, this time applying them to the base. I then add a couple of tufts and then push those speed paints into the tufts. Finally, I add a little bit of grim black onto the base as a wash, and then I hit the rim with matte black. You can feel the temperature drop with each step as you near the center of the graveyard. The magistrate and two constables were last seen heading here 2 nights ago, charged by the burgomaster to prove the burial grounds were not haunted. Though you haven't seen it, you know it to be true, for too much has already gone wrong this night. A sudden numbing tears through you as your hair stands on end, and then she is there, before you, This is the end result. I purposely did not add any OSL from the lantern as I was going for the ghostly look from the 80s movies where the apparitions would be plainly visible but not actually emit any light, as seen in the screen grab from High Spirits. I know this was more of a limitation of special effects in movies of that era versus a planned effect, but it was something that always stuck with me, and in this case a lantern isn't necessarily a source of light. My biggest regret on this project is adding the thinned down speed paint to try and cover bad transitions. The left image is before I added the speed paints and the right image is after, and I feel the flesh looked better before doing this. That's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you learned something or inspired to start or expand your own collection. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next video. Why you gotta touch my face? Dirty.